Ecosystems to Speciation is a CTSM biology unit that consists of 8 total lessons, plus a pre- and post-assessment that should be able to be completed in approximately 10 50-minute class periods. The first 4 lessons in the unit are based on ecology, covering 4 major topics: population dynamics, carrying capacity, competition, and interdependence. The next part of the unit makes a natural transition from ecology to evolution. The last 4 lessons explore topics in evolution such as genetic drift, natural selection, reproductive isolation, and speciation. Throughout this unit, students use computational representations, evaluate claims, construct explanations based on evidence, and apply concepts of statistics and probability. They engage in these science practices while learning about core disciplinary ideas in ecology and evolution. These are the computational thinking practices that are covered throughout the unit. While covering learning objectives within each of the 4 computational thinking practices, the focus is primarily on data practices and modeling and simulation practices. Within data practices, students will learn to collect, create, analyze, and visualize data. Students will interact with some rudimentary programming within computational problem-solving practices. They will also learn to better understand the relationships and interactions within ecological systems. Lastly, they will work on using and assessing computational models, which lets them demonstrate modeling and simulation practices. Students will use agent-based models in this curricular unit. By focusing on the behavior of autonomous agents and by using computational modeling to simulate interactions between many of these agents, scientists in a wide range of disciplines are introducing powerful new research methods. The point of an agent-based approach is to help students understand where the patterns come from. Instead of just a descriptive understanding, students gain a more nuanced mechanistic understanding of a phenomenon. Isle Royale is a small cluster of islands in Lake Superior, more or less a closed system when it comes to large mammals. Since 1959, large amounts of data have been collected about the resident wolves and moose living on Isle Royale. How do these populations interact in this closed system? What are the factors that might influence the population sizes of these 2 species? Students will decide on the rules that govern the individual wolves and moose and use these rules to ask questions and make predictions concerning predator-prey relationships. Models can be powerful computational tools that allow scientists to test multiple scenarios over and over in a relatively short time. Using an agent-based modeling system of an Isle Royale food chain, students will visualize, predict, and test various forms of interactions between populations, describing both indirect and direct effects on population size in response to specific changes in the ecosystem. In Lesson 3, students use a participatory simulation that allows for role-play activities. Each student individually controls the behavior of an insect in a closed environment with limited resources, similar to what would be experienced in Isle Royale. The class as a whole embodies the system and experiences the simulation as a group, giving students the opportunity to gain experience from perspectives both inside and outside of the system. In this lesson, students make predictions about how different initial conditions of resources or competitors available in the ecosystem will affect the carrying capacity of the bug population. From their model runs, students record observations about fluctuations in population size and stable states for each population, testing their predictions. They try to build consensus about some of the ways that population size changes in ecosystem. In Lesson 5, students perform computational experiments with a population of bacteria growing in an environment with sugar as an energy source. Students will discover that despite the lack of selective advantage to the individual, eventually, over time, only one type of bacteria will survive in the system due to genetic drift. Lesson 6 uses an extended version of the previous bacterial population model. Flagella now offer a variable selective advantage in the form of speed, while also having a variable cost in the form of energy usage. Students develop deeper understanding of what natural selection looks like in a population of genetically differing organisms in competition with one another. Finches of the Galapagos Islands have provided fertile ground for exploring evolution since Darwin's visit in 1835. In Lesson 7, students use a finch dataset and a computational tool called CODAP to develop deeper understanding of concepts like mutations, natural selection, and adaptations. Lesson 8 explores a computational model of plant speciation, specifically speciation that is able to occur when two subpopulations of a species diverge without being separated by geographic barriers. Using this computational model, students investigate how plants may interact differently over time based on genetic and environmental combinations, even though they are not physically separated. The whole unit can be run on either Mac or PC. Due to the participatory simulation, though, all except Lesson 3 can be run on Chromebooks. This unit was developed by members of the Center for Connected Learning and Computer-Based Modeling at Northwestern University with funding from the National Science Foundation and the Spencer Foundation.